Louis C. Gross II, and my guest, Mr. Gator Bradley. I want to thank you for coming.
Thank you, sir, for having me come.
We have a couple of things we'll do before we get started with a deep conversation. The book of the week, The Spook Who Sat by the Door. That has dual connotations. Spook, as you well know, in the Old South was called a black man. But also in the intelligence agency, a spook is a spy. So I just want you to know that. And it's a good book, you need to read it. They talk about revolution. And as I look at it right now, times are really getting towards people feeling as though they've been out of shape because of what's happening, and at least the powers that be. You know, I think it was said that be careful what people do and don't do. They act one way, it's called a diversionary tactic. They act one way and go another. Look at your administration, look what's happening. Just look. But now, Mr. Bradley.
Yes, sir.
Will you please tell our beloved audience what you're doing these days?
I'm a president of United in Peace, Inc., 501c3.
Okay.
We're
That's
anti-violence. Yeah, we're an anti-violence organization. Also, professionally, I'm known as an urban translator. And one of the guys that I'm helping now, his name is Mark Maxon, the young man that was incarcerated for 24 years for a wrongful conviction. I work with him and his attorneys for him to understand he has a right to be compensated. He did a DNA.
I want to ask you first. Can you explain to the community what is an urban translator?
An urban translator is an individual that informs the public the concerns of those that are incarcerated and make sure that their attorneys do what's right for their client and their client do what's expected to help their attorney to get a peaceful end or resolution to their case. And by me being a former ex-felon, I got a pardon from Governor Jim Thompson.
Oh, really?
I did my time in Stateville Penitentiary. And the
It's
young
well
guy,
played, isn't it?
yeah, the young guy, Mark Maxon, had just been released from Stateville Penitentiary.
Tell me about Mr. Masson. What was the allegations against him?
He had, they had wrongfully charged him for
The police
murder.
here,
The
right?
police did. Some of them were
Sounds
a
familiar.
part of John Burge's crew.
Oh, the captain.
Yeah.
He was beating everybody to the death for
Right. And it was a child was the victim. The lawyer was able to convince the state's attorney to allow them to do DNA on the evidence. And they found that it was another guy who had committed the crime by the name of Osborne Wade. Osborne Wade did a video confession as well as wrote a letter to the victim's family and to Mr. Mark Maxon for him being locked up for 24 years for a crime that he committed. After he had killed the baby, Osborne, he ended up stabbing his uncle to death, and that's how his DNA got into the system.
Sounds like he was mentally ill.
Yeah, sick person, man.
Yeah, you know, as I'm looking at it, a lot of things are going on now, especially with the police department in terms of how do you deal with a person who's been mentally challenged. You know, they shot a couple of young people not knowing, what was really happening with that person. All they know is they had a gun and they shoot them. And I'm talking about the police,
Right.
rather than trying to, assess the situation and deal with it another way. And that goes to training people. When you're dealing with these police out here, Chicago Police Department, keep your hands on the steering wheel and say yes sir, no sir. And remember the Fourth Amendment. Anything got illegal is inadmissible in a court of law. That's the Exclusionary Act. But under the Fourth Amendment, you have a right in terms of illegal search and seizure. Know your rights, because what we find out now with the Justice Department, they come out with these policemen that haven't been trained, plus they don't even really know the law, because every day they bust your constitutional rights. And by you being ignorant of it, you just accept it. And that's a shame. So how do you feel about that?
I feel like this. We have to re-educate ourselves
Yes.
as well as our children. You and I grew up knowing that when the police come at you, we just know right off the bat.
Right.
It's yes, sir.
Right.
You show them your hands. But what we're saying, even when
You see
their
your
hands
hands,
are being
right.
shown, for some reason, they still get shot. Laquan McDonald.
Oh, yeah.
There's been many more before him. But when you saw where they overkilled him,
Oh, yeah.
shot him 16 times.
Yeah.
And that was the reason for the Justice Department
To come in.
and investigate
And
the police department. And as you know, they came down with a decision today.
Right, right. And what's two things. What's really bringing everything to light, you know, George Orwell wrote a book called 1984, Big Brother. Cameras everywhere. And that's what's, you know, coming into light now. And, you know, like you just said, Mr. Bradley, they've got away with so many things because, you know, they weren't not under scrutiny. But now with these cameras, you know, things have really did a drastic turn. But I also know that they're not trained, and the administration, this current administration, knew a lot of things and didn't do anything about it. And as a result, we're in this dilemma. Now they're trying to cover up, you know. So what do you think about that?
You know, they can't hold Ron responsible for something that was in effect when the first daily.
The old boss,
mayor.
huh? Boss,
And
yeah.
the second daily was the mayor. That's almost like 40 years of old boy cover-up network where the police felt like they had a right, and it was a standard rule. If you're a police officer and I'm a police officer and I do wrong, you had a code of silence.
Code of silence,
Not
right.
just gangs in the street had a code of silence. Not just the mafia had a code of silence, but the police had a code of silence. I think what's happening now with what happened with the Laquan McDonald piece and the fact that Ron come out and say that there is a code of silence and they breaking that code of silence, you know, with the things that he's done, you know, and I'm like that. You can't bring Ron for John Burge.
Right,
That was a
Right.
culture that's still in effect. When you got police officers that know they saw what happened to Laquan McDonald.
Oh, yes.
Yet
And it's
they
still-
said
that's
something
true.
else
Right.
happened. They did a report and said the young man charged the police officer with a knife.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I read what a special prosecutor is thinking about charging them officers.
Not thinking about it.
They're going to do it. Yeah.
They're going to do that. And that should be done. You can't take a life arbitrarily and then cover it up. You know, you're supposed to, what does it say, serve and protect? Man, every time a police, look here, here's a question. Would you rather for the police to be in front of you when you're driving or in back of you? You know what? It was a time people would say, oh, I feel protected. Now, you want that person to be in front of you. You know, you want to be in front of you. Now, look here, 756 murders, 4,000 shootings. Do you think we need federal protection?
You know
Martial law?
First of all, what we need, not martial law, what we need is for citizens in the city of Chicago to go to court against the individuals that's terrorizing their community.
Well, you know,
You know, I mean, and my thing is this. When I saw there was a young guy on the west side, and I said it last week during my show. Here's a young guy, he got shot. He went to the hospital. On his way back from the hospital, the same people come back and they shoot him again and they kill him.
Are you serious?
Yes. In Chicago, we've had about 6 mass shootings last year. We've had 1 mass shooting this year. And in the 15th ward, which is the west end of Inglewood, mass shootings. We're talking about 4 more people getting shot.
Okay,
or killed.
at the same time.
You know, so it's like this. At the end of the day, it's a list that's out there, and the superintendent keep talking about the list. And he's saying, even with the 700-some people who were murdered,
756.
and the 43 100 who were shot, he said 80% of them were individuals that were on this list. And the list is made up of individuals.
Is what, a gang list or something?
Yeah, it's a list that they got from courtroom data that says if you was arrested with a gun, you're on the list.
Okay.
If I shot someone and the witness didn't come to court, I'm on the list. There's either someone that's going to be murdered or someone that's going to do the shooting. You feel what I'm saying? Me having a chance of being murdered because I shot someone and there's going to be a retaliation for that.
Yeah.
You having a chance, the reason you on the list because there's a chance that next time they might not catch you before you fire the gun.
Right, okay.
So they got this list. So when he said the individuals who have been shot or have been murdered, 80% of them, their names appeared on the list.
On the list.
So that means that's the list that I believe Sessions may use to say, hey, there's laws on the books where we can lock you up in the federal penitentiary. You and I know this. An ex-felon get caught with a pistol. If the feds take the case, he's gone.
You're going back to jail, yeah.
He's gone. So the community can't have it both ways. You can't say it's racial profiling when we seeing black on black violence.
This is another thing. Now, let's get into the dynamics of this gang situation or these organizations. They're splitting up. It used to be the D's and the Stones and all that. And now all of a sudden it's 2 plus 6 and what is this? They're disenchanted with the main crew, and so they get going out on their own.
Well, my thing is this. I'm just giving it from my experience as a former gang enforcer. Got a pardon. Been away from that for 20-something years, but my feet is still on the ground. I'm seeing, I'm hearing. You know what I mean? I'm an elder. Okay?
Right.
The thing is this. You got the individuals that's out there. They pull away because they didn't want to be a part of a discipline structure.
Oh.
So they become renegades. Like you say, they come with these different numbers and they different. Half the time they may be a 2-block difference from them. Okay. And then it may be, if it's 6 members, I'm just being hypothetical.
Okay.
I'm not dissing anyone, I'm just giving you the history. If there may be 6 members. And then all of a sudden, 2 members get mad at one another. And there are 4 other members choose sides between the 2 members that's mad.
Okay. Like baseball.
Just like baseball team. When you see some of the hip hop artists that's going at one another, like we seeing in Chicago,
thing. You make all this money.
All the rappers, right?
What's
that we seeing that's happening is because they form a clique. And your viewing audience need to know that a gang is a group of individuals that meet sociably and regularly. That's 3 or more individuals. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay, so they call them cliques. Just because they call them cliques, they still do the same thing as the gangs. And what's about to happen, they're going to charge them as gang members. Your viewing audience need to know it's a new era now. You got Trump as the president.
Yeah.
You got an attorney general.
Sessions.
Yeah. That's coming in with a focus on Chicago. You see where Steve Harvey and Trump just met for Steve Harvey to help Trump with the violence in Chicago and Detroit.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So
That
Steve Harvey's involved now, huh?
That just happened. Jim Brown.
Okay, I know he always had
American.
Right.
So Jim Brown always knew Trump before he became president.
Okay.
One of the things when we were...
And Jim Brown gonna work with Trump too?
Ain't no question.
Okay.
I mean, it is what it is.
Are you gonna work with him?
Yeah. I'll work with anybody that got a solution where they're not taking advantage of senselessly locking up individuals, gonna bring resources to the community to help turn the tide against senseless shootings and killings. Okay? Trump is the president.
Yes.
Okay? He don't know what to do. He tell you he don't know what to do. Jim Brown has a program that's been in effect for a long time. I worked with Jim Brown in the 90s. We went around the country stopping gang violence. The one thing that was missing in all our programs was that we didn't have the resources or the individual who was in power to give the resources. So now Trump is in power, don't know what to do. Jim Brown, what should I do? Steve Harvey, what should I do? Well, they say if we had these, I'm being hypothetical, if we took some of the lots in the city of Chicago and allowed the individuals to be able to build something there, just like we be seeing the little stores all the time popping up, the mom and pop stores that other ethnic groups have them stores.
Yeah.
Why can't that happen in our community where it used to be African American mom and pop stores? Okay, you got a president now that can say, I support that. I'm willing to bring funds from the housing because Steve Harvey met with the new guy that's going to be over HUD.
Okay.
He ran for president.
He wanted Carson to do it.
Right, yeah. He's going to be over HUD. Right.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
Carson, right.
my thing is this.
Go ahead.
We got to take advantage of what we have to work with.
Okay.
You know? Oh, there's a caller.
We got a caller. You're on the air. Question or comment, caller. Go ahead.
You know what? First of all, my first comment, Louis, and it's good to see you again, too, partner. My first comment, and I would not trust Trump. I wouldn't trust Trump to bring my mail here. I ain't nothing in the world would I do anything with Trump. But that's just my opinion. You think he's going to come and help us? I doubt it. I doubt that. And more people are complaining about this man. But again, what someone else do is stay business. There's nothing wrong with that, Gator. I mean, if that's what you choose to do, that's what you choose to do. And I wish you all the luck. But, Louis, let me tell you at the beginning.
You know, I understand what you're saying. The man asked me the question, if Trump was to come and give me the resources, would I take the resources and work with him, or would I say, Trump, because you bring the resources, I don't want them because I was with Hillary? What we have to do and what our focus has to be is to get jobs into our community in order to stop these children and young adults from killing one another. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but listen, Gator.
I'm with you 100%. I'm with you 100%. But the thing is, what is the alternative to a person that's bringing you something as opposed to having nothing? Wait.
Well, I'm going to answer that question for you, Gator. Be careful of what you think is so good. Be careful. You remember the Trojan horse. Be careful of what someone is giving you. That's what you got to do. But, Louis, listen, you mentioned at the beginning of the show, The Spook Who Sat by the Door. Yes. I love that book.
Really?
In the early 70s, paperback, you read it, and they made a movie out of it.
Right. It was a good movie. It was a good book.
But it was a heck of a good book. And listen, Gator, and please, I'm not, I know where you're coming from. I mean, there's a lot of elders that have history. Remember I told you that last week. Sure, some people get smart and change their ways. But again, just because we change our way, be careful of what's coming to you. It's still no different than it was then. It looked too good to be true. Leave it alone. Again, I don't trust Trump. Is he our president? Yes, he is. Would I vote for him? No. Would I trust him? No. But that's what we got to do. We got to be with the person who's at the top, but that only means I got to work with you or believe anything what you say. Listen, let me get out the show, and Louis and Gazer, thanks for taking the call. Let me get out so I can hear y'all respond.
Caller, we got another call. Go ahead, you're on the air. Question or comment?
Yeah, Brother Gator, glad to see you still in the battle doing the work. I compliment you on what you're doing. The other gentleman, I would ask him to relax and realize that Trump is going to be in for 4 years, and he's got billions and trillions of dollars to work with. And the one thing that you, along with Jim Brown's program and others, have not had is money. I don't care whether we trust him or not. what he says, but if he's coming with money and resources to improve the lives of African-American young men in Chicago and people in Chicago and around the country, take the money, praise him for what he's doing on behalf of improving, because you know the last time we had $1 billion to work with black youth in Chicago, it hasn't happened. So we can get $1 billion, or even $500 million from Trump. Go for it, Gator. Give some leadership. You know what to do with other programs you work with. Don't get hung up in what he said or what somebody said about him. Take those resources and continue the hard work you've been doing, improving the lives of African-American young men in Chicago.
Sir.
Thank you very much.
Comment. Mr. Bradley. Now, we talking about Trump and resources, but what about the mayor? You know, this is his time. Well,
Right.
He's our leader. Matter of fact, you know, I saw 60 Minutes the other day, and he declined to even speak. You know, in terms of leadership, you know, represents Chicago. And when somebody's talking about what's going on here, you need to be the first voice. You know, you're the first person.
Right.
Supposedly.
Well, you know, I saw the 60 Minutes
thing,
and that was a piece where you had a disgruntled police superintendent that wasn't right, McCarthy. So I think the mayor did the right thing, in my opinion, by letting the new superintendent check him. So it would be police to police. Mm-hmm. But back to your question, which is very important and very relevant, the mayor need the resources. He had to get them from the federal government. Mm-hmm. But the federal government need to say, here's resources. I'm just being hypothetical.
Go ahead.
Here's resources that I want to go to Harold Baskin that has a program in Inglewood. Okay. Here's resources that I want to go to a Mark Carter that live in North Lawndale. You know what I'm saying? That knows what they're doing.
Okay, what they're doing. Okay, right. So you want to invest in okay.
You want to have a vested resources, and then for the mayor to hold responsibility, to hold us accountable. Because as you know, there's been a lot of organizations that have gotten funds to do what they're supposed to do and didn't do. Didn't do.
Right.
I mean, there's been a lot of black middle-class individuals that end up going to the penitentiary because they didn't do what's right with the resources, you know. And
I know one for sure, but I won't mention it right now.
Right, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. And you know, and McCarthy told old boy not to even deal with him, and he did anyway, and come up with $1.5 million short on that deal.
Right.
And it cost the taxpayers because of decisions made. You know, dig this. Einstein said, hey, the thing that caused the problem won't be the thing that solves the problem. Now, Mr. Gator, tell us something. What do you plan on doing?
Man,
we want to know.
You know what?
Can other people be involved?
Yes. What I plan on doing, and I'm doing this along with my wife, Terry, is working with anyone that want to aid and assist with ending senseless violence, shootings, and killings. But you got to be a credible individual.
By the way, have you got in contact with the mayor yet?
Yeah, I put my fill out with it to everybody. I couldn't wait for this. I know your show about the end. You know, you might want to let them know how to get up with your manhood piece. You know, but like me and you, we met the other day. We knew each other for years and bumped into one another last week. And here I am today because you invited me.
Right, I really
appreciate you.
I really appreciate it. It was good seeing you. I got to wrap up. Listen, Mr. Bradley will be on shortly, what, 6 o'clock?
Yeah, 6 o'clock.
Tune in. A hell of a man. And I respect him, and that's the reason why I want him on the show. So we could elaborate on what's going on, because this man is in a position to know a lot of things that you know, public don't know, and I really didn't know. So thanks for the enlightenment. And as always, I hope that you can walk away from this with a semblance of thought in terms of where we're going and what's been happening. And get involved, like Gator says. You know, you look at it. On your block, it's your block. You need to get involved. You know, stop hiding. Anyway, if you feel as though you run out of rope, tie a knot and hang on. Everything's going to be all right. See you next week.
I like that one.
Thank you.
That's the cable toy.